Salmonella is a bacteria that causes foodborne illness, and if you've had it, you know it's not very fun. Here's everything you need to know about salmonella and how to avoid getting sick from it. When you eat a food that contains salmonella bacteria, the bacteria can trigger an infection known as salmonellosis. Common symptoms include abdominal cramps, diarrhea, and fever, and symptoms can show up between 8 to 72 hours after consuming a contaminated food. Sometimes salmonellosis can be asymptomatic, and folks with healthy immune systems will be able to recover without needing to visit a doctor. Common recovery times include between 4 to 7 days without any antibiotic treatment. The most affected populations when it comes to salmonellosis include immunocompromised people, such as populations like the elderly, pregnant people, as well as infants. In order to make sure that you don't become sick, let's learn about how to reduce risk and raise awareness by knowing what common foods can be contaminated by salmonella, as well as safe handling practices for each of these food items. If you're watching this video because you're wondering if you ate something with salmonella, think back to some foods you consumed between 6 to 72 hours ago. The most common foods that get contaminated with salmonella are typically animal products from a raw origin, such as raw meat, raw poultry, and eggs. Other susceptible products include peanut butter, as well as raw fruits like pre-cut melons. Salmonella is a hardy bacteria that can survive if poultry, meat, and eggs are not thoroughly cooked to a safe minimum internal temperature. One way to monitor this is to always use your meat thermometer and stick the probe in the thickest part of the meat for the most accurate measurement. Salmonella can also linger on raw fruits and vegetables, especially if they have not been thoroughly washed. Cooling and refrigeration are also really important tools to mitigate risk of salmonella. When handling perishable foods, it's important to put them back in the refrigerator within 2 hours. And if you are thawing frozen food, it's best to let it thaw in the refrigerator ahead of time. With any foodborne illness, cross-contact and cross-contamination is something to be very mindful of as you're in the kitchen preparing food, because this can easily spread unsafe bacteria like salmonella. Let's say you used a cutting board to prepare raw chicken and you ended up cooking that chicken to a safe minimum internal temperature of 165 Fahrenheit. If you did not properly clean and sanitize that cutting board and you ended up preparing any herbs or vegetables on there, then you run the risk of salmonella contamination. If you hear there's a food recall that involves salmonella, always double check your fridge and pantry to see if you're carrying any products affected by the recall. To double check, always read press releases from the FDA, the CDC, the USDA, as well as any participating companies to see which products and which brands were affected. Here are some really important details to note when checking to see if a product you have has been recalled. Remember, it's always safest to dispose of a food that you may be concerned has been contaminated with salmonella. Your health is way more important than trying to stretch out your groceries a little longer. I'm making this content a lot because there's a lot of fear about recalls and foodborne illness lately, but I just want to let you guys know that mitigating risk and knowing what common foods can be susceptible to foodborne illness can empower us as consumers to make better decisions for ourselves and help to keep ourselves and our loved ones from getting sick, which is really important. You can stand under my salmonella. Actually, don't stand under salmonella. You may not want to know what comes out.